I remember my coworkers being like very surprised. They're like, "What are you talking about?" I said, "Well, if you're Colombian, you're Colombian, you're alone, and you don't eat, you're getting flagged and you're getting stopped by immigration and you're getting laxatives." They're like,
Gotcha.
and I'm
Gotcha.
like, "Yeah." They're like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, the way people transport drugs on airplanes is that they would eat them and then they can't eat something else because the drugs would explode in their stomach and they would die. So
So
they
before they
flagged
boarded
it.
these planes, they would basically take these balloons and just pop them full of drugs. People would tie the balloons, they would swallow it. And
Yeah.
so you're saying if somebody was on a flight and a stewardess or somebody walked by and didn't see you eating, they thought, oh, it's because they might have these drug balloons
So then they
stored away in
report
their
you. Yeah.
stomach.
Yeah.
So
Or
then
if they
did,
see you very, very nervous, especially
yeah.
if you're flying by yourself. Like there's all these like triggers, and then you land, and then there's somebody waiting for you.
But I remember that
Very,
was one of your dad's points of advice to you, I think, before you started flying a lot, was he was like, always make sure they see you eating. That was a smart
yeah.
recommendation.
Except that I
Yeah,
am
unfortunate,
a
but
very like bad passenger, and I fall asleep like since
it's a
before. Like
good
I sit.
passenger.
Well, I like it. Like they pass the card with the food, and I never eat it because I'm always passed out. Like I'm sleeping. I don't know what it is. I think it's the air or the white noise on the airplane. Like I get in there, and I'm asleep before we take off. Like I put on my seatbelt and I'm out, and most of the time I wake up when we land.
Yeah.
So my theory that I didn't get stopped is because they're like, well, if she's so damn like calm, it's because she can't be carrying any drugs if
Yeah,
she's like sleeping from the minute. Like
she's no drug
she's
mule.
sleeping
She's, yeah.
soundly. Yeah. But for instance, my mom, she's a U.S. citizen, and I think it was last year or maybe a year and a half ago. She was late to the airport, so she was super nervous. She was running, she was sweating, and she was super nervous and anxious because she was late. They flagged her. They
Really?
flagged her, and she landed in Atlanta, and she was held for 5 hours.
For 5 hours? So did they say like what the reason was or why they wanted to check her out, or it was just the random
I
explanation?
don't know. They like interview you, and then they make you sit and they make you wait, and then they ask you a ton of questions, and they like, please wait, and then somebody else comes and they ask you the same questions in a different order, and they look at you and see if you're making stuff up and if you answer the same things.
Yeah.
And then I guess if you don't look suspicious and you are not having any digestive issues because of you don't have any drugs, they let you go. I don't know, but she was not happy,
Yeah.
obviously. She was freaking out after that. She was very unsettled. I mean, she was already anxious coming in, and then you
Yeah.
get held up for 5 hours, and imagine what that does